One night of fun caused Kristen to once again put her dreams on hold. Not only is she facing major life changes, she is also helping her less responsible friend adjust to motherhood. After relying on her parents one too many times, Gabrielle never thought they'd actually kick her out. Will Gabrielle be able to mature fast enough to be a decent mother? Or is mooching all she's good at? And will Kristen finally have a chance to chase her dreams once again? Or is paving the way for a new path her only option? Hey y'all, and welcome back to another Creator Sim video. I'm Muka, and if you are new here, what took you so long to click on one of my videos? But let's get started. So today we are looking at the face of Kristen. For some reason, I was struggling so hard creating this family. Kristen and Gabrielle were giving me such a hard time. I couldn't get their noses right. I couldn't get their skin tones right. I don't know what was going on. I do not know what was going on when I was making these Sims. I was struggling so bad. But let's get right on into Kristen and who she is and where she is at now in her life. So Kristen's original last name, because she's a part of the singles household in Strangetown. That's first off, right? But her original last name is Lost, and I believe that's how you pronounce it because her parents and like her grandparents, they are like, I believe the word is idiom or like metaphors off of being lost. Like her father's name is already lost, right? And then her mother's name is Daisy, and that's supposed to be like stuck in a daze. That's what I got from their wiki fandom thing. But with Kristen, or for her, from her Sims 2 profile, like description, right, her bio, she wants to be a world famous sports champion, and Strangetown was pretty much like just a pit stop on the way to her being, you know, a sports champion. Now, how she ended up in Oasis Springs, I didn't do too much thinking on that one, okay? Let's just say, like, because she was originally supposed to like inherit money or something like that, so we could just say like she inherited a house as well, and she didn't think that she was going to use it, right? She was renting the house out, you know. We'll go with that storyline. But then she ended up moving into the house in Oasis Springs. But so where she is at now in her life is that, so normally with Kristen, she is a very serious sim. She's very friendly, but she's very serious. She's not very neat. And she's not very outgoing either, but she is athletic, right? And with her roommates in The Sims 2, she is acquaintances with all of them. So that could also like apply that she, you know, she either was just moved in with them, or she just doesn't really care to know people, because for her, how I see her, she is more on the serious side of grinding until I can make it type person, right? That's how I see her. She's not really interested in making friends. She's not really interested in a social life, anything like that. But after her staying in Strangetown for maybe like 1 or 2 years, you know, she decided, you know, well, I'm getting close to my dream. I might as well have fun one time, right? And her having fun one time, like, that's a big deal for her, right? Because she doesn't really go out. She doesn't really hang out with everybody. You know what I mean? And she wanted to let loose for once. But that one time of her letting loose cost her her dream to be put on hold. And it resulted in a pregnancy. Now, who the father of her child is, at this point in time, we don't know, because for now, it's a random sim until I can think if I want to add him in. But it's not that hard to add somebody in, you know what I mean? But her son's name is Archie. That's what I named him. I was kind of wanting to give like a little nod to her father, Artie, even though that's two completely different names. But anyway, so with her her outfits, right, I wanted it to kind of be similar to her Sims 2 outfits, but I kind of went more for her being like a little bit more kind of like basic. I've been noticing I'm doing a lot of like basic, normal like characters recently, and I do kind of want to switch it up a little bit. But for the most part, it makes sense to her and to where she is in her life right now. So she is very athletic. I'm still trying to decide, kind of like with Summer, because Summer Holiday is an athletic sim, but I'm trying to figure out, because like with Summer Holiday, like I'm trying to say, she is a figure skater in this save file. For Kristen, I'm trying to decide what I want her to be. I'm think I want to have her be either in soccer, swimming. I kind of like the idea of swimming because it could tie into with Gabrielle and her story. And then also with like basketball, one of those things. I'm still thinking about it, right? But anyway, she's going to be a famous sports champion. That is her goal. That is her future. That is her plan, right? But so when I made her son Archer, I was struggling to see like what type of family dynamic I wanted it to be, because I gave her the gloomy trait. Now, based upon like her her interest in her personality in The Sims 2, she doesn't really give off gloomy. She just gives off friendly, serious, not really, loner vibes, right? But where it makes sense for her life right now, in my head, it makes sense. Because of the fact that she is struggling to accept the fact that she once again has to put her dreams on hold again, and because of that, she doesn't necessarily regret the fact that she became a mother. It's just that it's kind of like a damn, I gotta focus on something else now instead of focusing on myself, because that's what she's been doing. She's been trying to grind, she's been trying to focus on herself, but there was always something that was holding her back to be able to push to her dreams, right? So I gave her the gloomy trait. Obviously, she's active. And I believe the other trait I gave her was overachiever. I was going to give her, I think, like ambitious or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I feel like those traits describe her perfectly. And then I am going to put like a picture of like her likes and interests and stuff like that. She's not very much of like, a touchy-feely type of person. She doesn't really care too much about people because, again, she's a loner. And her aspiration, of course, is like, I think it's like the bodybuilder thing, or whatever the sports thing is. I can't remember. But let's move on to Gabrielle because she's about to come up quickly here. Yeah. And these are all of her outfits and stuff like that. This is for a thing. So moving on to Gabrielle. So Gabrielle, her name is Gabrielle Arias. I believe that's how you pronounce it. I looked up to see how to pronounce it, and I feel like I'm butchering it. I'm butchering names all over the place, and it's crazy because my name is so hard to pronounce. Like, it's Samaria, and some people have struggled to pronounce my name, and I try so hard to. Anyway, let's move on. So with Gabrielle, she is a part of the Island Paradise pack, and she lives in Isla Paradiso, and she lives there with her parents. Her parents are elders, and they are pretty much wanting to enjoy their retirement, but Gabrielle just refuses to move out. She just does not have a plan for her life, and she doesn't have a very great relationship with her parents, especially her father. She is very disliked by her father, and she is distant friends with her mother. Not too much is known, like, really outside of that, but, like, based upon her description, her parents pretty much want her off of their houseboat, but she feels life is easier when things are predictable. So I feel like with Gabrielle, she goes with the flow when it comes to life, right? And for her parents, they're not so much angry at her, or more so her mother. I see it as her mother is the one that's kind of like, well, honey, like, let's just have her stay here. She's been here for a while already. We have an extra room. I know that we planned for retirement, but she's only going to be here for a little while longer, and that's it. And then she'll be gone. But her father, last straw with her, right? Because he was like, I need you out. And his last straw with Gabrielle was her ending up pregnant. I do have a Creative Sim video coming out on the father of her child, so that will be a whole nother thing. But he is also part of Isla Paradiso, and I will explain more with him how they both tie in together. But their child name, because his name is the man that she ended up having a baby with, it was supposed to be like a one-time thing. They weren't really like looking for a relationship. They was just kind of like having fun. They're kind of like childhood friends. That's how I see it in my head, right? But their child's name, his name is Milo. That's what I ended up naming him. And yeah. So with Gabrielle, she is, I can't remember all of the traits, but it's gonna pop up. So for her, in terms of her skills, she only has one in cooking and then one in fishing. So I did make sure that she likes cooking and fishing. I kind of wanted to make her lazy, but I felt like it didn't describe her. But then I'm like, it may, because with her lifetime wish in The Sims 3, she is a gold digger. So she basically wants somebody to take care of her. She wants, things to be easy for her. That's what she's expecting things to be easy for her. Now with her, with like moving in with Kristen, they were like childhood best friends, like they grew up together and stuff like that, but they went their separate ways, or like, Kristen ended up moving away, right? And then once Gabrielle pretty much got pregnant, she tried to hide the pregnancy for as long as possible. It was kind of like I'm pregnant, and then she tried to like hide it so that way because she could still stay, because she knew that was going to be the last straw. But you could only hide a pregnancy for so long, So then, right, once her father was like, that's it, you're out. And it's no offense to her father, right, but it was just that he was getting sick and tired of constantly taking care of her, and he's like, I don't have much time left in this sim world. I cannot be sitting here taking care of you and a baby because you are not taking care of yourself, right? So she gets kicked out, and she's like, hey, Kristen, my father moved out, and I know that you have a house, and you got like an extra space. I could just stay in one of the rooms if that's okay with you. And, I won't stay there for very long. I just need a place to go. And then Kristen, of course, the nice person that she is, and, they're very opposite of friends. But Kristen, again, she's super nice. She's sweet. She wants to help out her friend. And she's like, all right, you can move in with me, but I understand where your parents are coming from, why they are kicking you out. So I need to see some improvements. You need to get a job, because for Gabrielle, I see like she was the type of person that either could not sustain a job or she just never got one, right? So her moving to Oasis Springs, one of the, I guess you could say like obligations. That's not the word. I can't think of the word right now. But one of the like rules for her to be able to move with Kristen was for her to get a job and actually be an adult for once, right? Because with her traits, she is childish, friendly, a mooch, a natural cook, and loves to swim. And that's also another reason why I thought about making Kristen be like a swimmer, like a swim champion type situation, right? So that way it could kind of tie into as why they were friends. But yeah, with Kristen, with Gabrielle, I was thinking of, I was wondering like if I wanted her to have a part-time job like right off the bat, or her to be unemployed. But I like the idea of her having like a part-time job instead of like a full-on career, you know what I mean? Because she could easily become a chef or like a lifeguard or whatever, but in Oasis Springs you don't really need lifeguards, you get what I'm saying? But anyway, I'm going to give her a part-time job, but I'm going to say that her like worth ethic is not the greatest, right? Her worth ethic is not the greatest. So here I gave her the childish trait. I gave her the friendly trait, or outgoing trait, because she's a little bit more outgoing. And then I was going to give her materialistic because of the gold digger trait, but I was like, nah, let's not do that. But so this is Archer. He is, I think I use like randomizers on Google, like the dice roll or whatever, and he ended up being clingy. And I kind of like the idea of him being clingy because with Kristen, she's not very affectionate, you know what I mean? And her son being clingy, she has to learn to lean into that motherly, affectionate nature, right? While also, again, and she's also trying to teach her friends as well how to be affectionate, because both of them, one of the things that they both share is the fact that they are not very affectionate. They're like, Gabrielle is looking here for like a good time, not a long time. And then Kristen is looking here for like a, not really trying to be more than, she has a goal in mind, and that's what she's focusing on. She's not focusing on anything else. Now, this is Milo. I gave him the wiggly trait. because it was also randomized as well. But yeah, that's what I gave him. And we're going to be coming up here on the pictures. Now, I don't have the pictures like right in front of me right now. So, woo, wow, the pictures are so great. Look at them. Such a nice family. But yeah, so make sure you guys look out for Mateo Torres, his creative sim, because that's going to be for Milo and his father. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this quick little creative sim, and make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss out when I post other gameplay videos, building videos, CAS videos like this one, and any other gaming related stuff. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye. I love how that's just like my ending now. Bye guys.